Hello Libra, it's Marina from the Butterfly Effect. This is your reading for May, really May. Remember what's left of April. It's really fluid, you know, it's just whenever you come across it is the bottom line. I rolled my dice and I've got Libra 11 and is that the South Node? The North Node. Okay, that might mean something to you. This is a really heavy reading, Libra. I'm just going to say that off the bat. I don't know how much of this has already occurred in your life, but you know, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. You know the drill. Yeah, the 11 came up, and the first card that came out is Shallow Grave, which is 29 coming down to 11 from my Shapeshifter Oracle. And then I have Harmonic Flight from my Lemuria deck, which is also a 29. So I've got 11, 11, 11. A lot of synchronicity there, and they're obviously fairly big numbers. Okay, let's just start with Shallow Grave. So this is the message that's coming through for you at this time period, and it basically means that you might be holding on to someone from your past, or some sentimentality, maybe even idolizing the past sometimes. So there's most definitely a breakup here. There's no two ways about it. And if that's not you, it's not your reading, straight up. And it feels utterly devastating when you see the archetypes that come through. So this is, it can be kind of mourning for what was, or there's just really deep sadness here. There really is deep sadness here. It might be something quite recent. I just sort of get that initially. But this card can, you know, go way back. It's most definitely, you know, something that has ended. I mean, it can be that someone's actually passed. So I get Peter K. What's that? I mean, it could be a friend, it can be a parent, a grandparent. It's time to let go of something. It's time to let go. There is a certain amount of acceptance coming through here, so that's why I think some of this may have already occurred. To see it with Harmonic Flight is almost even more painful, because this is a beautiful card, you know. I'm going to read you some of this from my Lemurian Oracle deck. The powerful image represents the divine we see when we look deeply into the eyes of another and our armor drops. When we meet another being present in the moment with no stories, judgments, or insecurities. I felt a little overwhelmed and intimidated when I painted this card. This is obviously the author. I wasn't quite ready or didn't fully fathom the message. Then some months later I experienced it when I was looking in the eyes of my beloved. Shortly after, I encountered the divine in the eyes of a stranger when space was held for this surrendered openness. When we see the person before us as the gods and goddesses they are, it is a reminder that we are what we perceive in others. But also when we drop into the mindless space of pure essence, we might see the world seeing us, seeing them, seeing the infinite, eternal, allowing all that is. Somehow, incredibly, the universe seemingly aligns the place the twin flames need healing. So it could be a twin flame reading. Yeah, we did have 11, 11, 11. Their triggers may be synchronized so that when they feel uncentered or there is codependence or imbalance, it can be a very volatile space. If they find safety in love and they are willing to see and be seen, their triggers can blossom into deep transformative healing for them both. This healing can forge the foundations for long-term companionship. Alternatively, this completion could mark an ending. As the intense potency of a connection neutralizes, the relationship may transform into a different kind of unconditional love. Harmonic Flight shows us that when we harmonize our energies with that of another in any form of relationship, we can soar to the sky. This card may relate to family, teamwork, community, and ways you can harmonize dissonance for deeper growth. The bonds you share give you the power to transmute your fears. Put time and awareness into resolving karmic connections, or they will continue to play out. There may also be a life-changing connection on the horizon. I don't think this is something new. I've got the Queen of Cups at the base of the deck here. That may represent you feeling very loving, nostalgic. But yeah, so I clarified the shallow grave, and I was really only asking for one card at a time, but they all came out together. I have the Destroyer, the Vow, and the Orphan. I mean, could it be any clearer? A promise has been broken. This is something unexpected. Might feel, you know, Destroyer's kind of like savage energy. It's you know, it's just rejection. There's been a promise, a vow, spoken or unspoken, and someone's been abandoned in the Orphan. Rejected. There's just, I mean, it's just so painful. It's so painful to see those three together. I'm not getting that there's a child involved with the Orphan. It's just the archetype of, you know, the abandoned, the wounded child, but something has been destroyed here. It's not just like, it's not small, it's literally obliterated. You've got the Apocalypse card, for God's sake. Now, I sort of felt that this was one side and another, but, you know, it's fluid again, but there's definitely an acceptance here. I got it's not right, but it's okay. So there's a kind of acceptance that, you know, oh crikey, sorry. Yeah, an acceptance and a moving on in the Six of Swords here. Six of Swords is a transitionary card. It's moving away from conflict and disaster. But it is, I mean, for some of you, it could well be that someone has passed, and, you know, the Six of Swords is the, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Chiron, who takes the souls to the other side, you know, across the river Styx. So there's movement here, there's an acceptance, and why I do think it could be for some of you that someone's passed. I've obviously got the shallow grave, and then I've got this coming through here. This is usually a guide, an ancestor, someone from the other side whispering in your ear, maybe offering some comfort here. But, you know, the Apocalypse card is something that's pretty devastating. And there might be some revelation that's coming through or will come through, because the Apocalypse talks about removing the veil of deception, seeing everything, the big lies, the little lies. And it's usually followed by a fairly painful time. Initially, there might be some relief if you're looking for answers and clarity, and then you get them. But then you move on to, you know, dealing with the grief. Possibly, you know, feeling slightly despairing. And it may just be that with the Miracle card and Justice being in reverse here, that the miracle is obviously just that. You may have been hoping for a miracle, maybe that someone would get well, that your connection would change, that they would uphold their vow or their promises or their commitment. And it's just not happening. Justice card in reverse. It's not fair, it's not right, but it's okay. We do have acceptance, we do have moving on, but it's really seriously not okay. It's just not okay. But it speaks to me that you are reaching, you know, some center. You're coming to terms with whatever this is for you. Now, as I say, I did feel it kind of split off here, but it doesn't have to, because I'm conscious that I have an Emperor in reverse here. Now, this could be you, this could be the person that you're in separation from, this could be someone who's already passed. They have the Three of Swords in reverse and the Victim. I get a real entrenched feeling coming through here with this person. With the Shaman being in reverse, this is someone who can relate to so many things, but this is usually someone who does overpromise. Yeah, it's also someone who can blame other people in their lives and maybe not take responsibility. There's an energy here that they can hurt themselves and also hurt other people. Now, Impasse is in reverse, which would suggest that there's an unblocking here, but I just feel there's been some sort of abuse of power here. Ace of Wands is most and the Emperor that's almost despotic in some ways. It's tyrannical. Justice card. There may have been some law breaking. This is someone who does not conform, who you know, is just, let's just take, because the shaman, I'm struggling to connect him with the shaman. It could be a judge, you know. It can be any sort of teacher. Shaman in its upright is it's the medicine woman. So yeah, there might be like, you know, to do with that, maybe like a sickness and illness. It's, you know, that's an issue for somebody. I don't know. I don't know where that's going there. Let's have a wee look. I'm going to use my fairies. I did get very early on, before the whole spread came through, I should be so lucky and love Kylie Minogue. Okay, Libra. You know, for some of you, it's just that, you know, someone has made a commitment to you. Maybe, you know, you are married to them or whatever. They've made some sort of commitment and you've been let down really badly, basically. That's just it. A very straightforward interpretation would be, this person's not reliable. This Emperor in reverse is not reliable. This is someone who may be, you know, completely consumed by their ego. And, you know, they don't accept the part they've played in the situation, possibly. Let me just see. What do I want? Let's start with the Ace of Wands with impasse for Libra. Oh, fuck yeah. I mean, it absolutely could not be clearer. Michael is he's like tomfoolery, you know, goofing off, making things right light and funny. To me, he's usually pretty idiotic, almost like a bit of an airhead, really. With the glaucoma in reverse, this is my narcissist. This is someone who creates illusions, delusions, will say whatever they need to say to get the desired outcome. Will lie, cheat, steal, whatever. It's someone who wears a complete mask. So this person, I mean, they're not a victim. They probably created this scenario, but now in some way they may not be getting the desired outcome. So it's everyone else's fault, probably yours. This is like, you know, this is like some sort of game that's gone very wrong, but it's also a game that is, at its very core, was twisted. Abusive. Ace of Wands in reverse is abusive. The Emperor in reverse with this is a narcissistic person. And yet someone here thinks that this was their twin flame. Your intuition may be a bit, or may have been a bit skewed. Why is victim here with the Three of Swords reverse? I mean, I feel I already know it's just a case of, you know, just not accepting responsibility and apportioning blame. So there's no discussion here. There's no communication. There's no self-expression. There's no apologies. I can also speak to untruths. And I really do think in this apocalyptic card here, this is removing the veil of deception. So there may be, I mean, there's no two ways about it. There's something coming to light here, and whatever you'd hope for, and you know, maybe you just hope somebody would come good. You know, if you were, you know, in that sort of twin flame dynamic, and you'd separated, and you're doing your healing, and they're doing their, it's not happening. This side of the board's not doing any healing. This side of the board has made no progress. whatsoever. I'm guessing, I don't know, let's just show me who the Queen of Cups at the base of the deck is. Yeah, I really do think this is who I'm reading for. Taking the self, this is discernment, this is seeing things really clearly. Trying to, well, avoiding kind of excessive behaviour, but she can move very quickly if she needs to be. She's really intellectual. She likes a lot of mental stimulation. She's quite enthusiastic, but in the main, she's the awakener. If you're not already awakened, Libra, you're going to be awakened, but it's going to be a very fucking rude awakening, is what I'm seeing, if you have pinned your hopes on someone coming good for you. I'm so sorry that that's another, not another, but it's a, you know, it's a depressing reading. But, you know, maybe four-armed and all that. Libra. Libra. What else do we want to know? Any more messages beyond this or external to this for Libra? Please, Spirit, for April, May 2021. Do you have any more messages for the Libra? I am looking for before we get some advice. Libra. Ow, ow. Hands crumbling. Libra. Any more messages for Libra? Look at the Scholar. Any more messages for the Libra? The Scholar, love and surprise. This is like studying love. Lessons in love. There could be some surprise on the love front, you know. If this is, you know, old news, I often feel that at least 80% of it you already know, and there's a couple of wee extras that might be useful for you. Yeah, but the Scholar, so you might be doing some study. You might be looking to start a new course of study, learn something. This can involve an older man, someone who's very wise, and that might be someone that comes across your path in the near future. But there's a surprise here, a surprise in love. Now it might well be that this is the freaking surprise. Let me just see. What is the surprise for Libra? What is the surprise for Libra? I just keep hearing Whitney Houston. It's not right, but it's okay. I'm going to make it anyway. Surprise for Libra. 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 The other thing is here, the mask that this person is wearing is one of, you know, being really playful and fun and happy. Now, I mean, that might just be to cover out a pile of insecurities, or indeed, you know, heartbreak, disappointment, or it may be just part of their persona in terms of, you know, achieving their narcissistic ways. So, you know, it could go either way. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt there. Surprise. Surprise. It's a surprise love. It's a surprise. It's an abusive love. Christ. Yeah, I mean, oh my God. The whip and the clouds. The whip speaks of punishment, pain, repetitiveness, being stuck in a cycle, doing the same thing over and over, and now we're in a sort of confused mental state, doubt, suspicion, paranoia. So, you know, I'll take you some advice, but you know where you're at and who you're dealing with, Libra. This is mental abuse. That's literal translation. Romantic and mental abuse, which is very much in the narcissistic playbook. Advice. Please, Spirit, they're your best and highest advice you give for Libra at this difficult time, Libra. Libra. Oh, there you go. You get Jesus. The great teacher, learn from spiritual experience, and the druid, hold the space. Also speaks about being at peace, finding your center. Not let someone, you know, yank your chain, throw you off in various directions, play with your mind. Great teacher. Here we are. Take the old Druid. The Druid sort of looks like, yeah, dreaming journey. A very quiet time. And know that what is happening around you is divinely inspired, and learn from your current experiences. We do get sort of learning about love here, you know. This card was inspired by Jesus, who is the most widely acknowledged and loved spiritual teachers of all time. But there is a great teacher in every tradition, and this card represents the one to whom you feel closest, as well as the great teacher within. The teacher wears simple clothes here to demonstrate that even if you live a simple life, it can be an incredibly spiritual one. He is surrounded by a sense of serenity and harmony because he has absolute trust in the higher powers that move through him. And the dove on the card represents receiving answers to prayers through signs and experiencing peace through joy. This card can represent a teacher in your life or the great teacher within. Either way, it shows that you have dedicated a lot of time, effort and energy to understanding yourself and the world. You're having spiritual experiences at this time and gaining a greater awareness of what you need to do in order to grow. There is a great chance that if you've been having any challenges recently, you've surmounted them and allowed them to be vehicles to lessons that are helping your spiritual connection. If you feel that you've received messages from heaven or the universe recently, this card is confirmation that these have indeed been holy experiences. That is your reading, my love. Look after yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.